Well, good morning and thank you for joining us for today's edition of Sports Check with me, Richard Munga, right here on KBC Channel 1. As we get down to talking matter sports, we're going in the due course of the program, we're going to be touching on sporting conversations, and of course later on we're going to be having the bit whereby we do the football review for the weekend. And on that agenda, of course, is the end of the 2021 Chan tournament, which of course came to a close yesterday night. KBC Channel 1 was showing those matches live. Thank you for those who were able to catch them, of course, live. And Morocco retaining the title, first nation actually to retain the Chan title. We're going to be discussing that, and we're also going to be looking ahead at what is coming this week. KBC Channel 1, as we all know, your true sports partner, will be bringing you the fifth round of the FA Cup matches. So be sure to stay tuned in for that conversation, among others. But for our first conversation this morning, we're going to be talking about tennis. And in studio, we are joined by one of Kenya's, actually one of Africa's best tennis players, junior tennis players. I'm talking about none other than Angela Okutoyi. Angela, thank you very much for joining us right here on KBC Channel 1's Sports Check. And before we get into talking about the tournament, most people are wondering, because you've been on the socials and in the news and in the headlines for the, well, past, let's say 3 years. So maybe we can start off by you telling us about your tennis journey, when you started playing, before we get down to the accomplishments, of course, that you have achieved in your, let's say, short life, for lack of a better term.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Angela Okutoyi. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Kenya. And I started tennis when I was 4 years old at LCVR, Loreto Convent Valley Road. I was introduced to tennis by Joe Karanja and Alan Atola. It wasn't quite easy at the beginning, but I think the fact that I was introduced to it, it started becoming fun. I think that's when I started loving tennis, and that's where I knew tennis is actually a sport, because everyone wonders, you just hit a ball there and there, but tennis is not quite easy when you get into it and when you start now participating and playing more advanced tournaments and matches with different kinds of players. And I also have a twin sister, and we started playing tennis together. It's quite fun, and I think you should try it.
And of course, given your age, of course, you actually just turned 17 not so long ago, a few weeks back. But maybe what are some of the challenges that you've encountered since you started playing tennis, considering, well, given your age and considering the fact that you're still in school?
The challenges I usually face when I'm playing is the fact that you always fear that you might get injury. So every time when you play, you just pray to God that you don't get injury. And also another challenge is for me, when I lose, like everyone wants to win, so losing, it's kind of challenging me. So maybe that's what's keeping me going to actually win more and more. And yes.
Okay, and in the bit about, of course, your studies, because you've been to Burundi for a while, and of course you've toured, of course, still playing tennis. And how hard or how easy maybe has it been for you juggling the two?
First of all, when I joined Burundi, I was actually doing normal school here in Kenya. Then I went to Burundi, and the good thing is that I was still doing normal school there. But when there was war, elections, so we had to move back here to Nairobi. And so I had to change the system into homeschool. But I think it's not that difficult, because what I've been learning, some of the things I've been learning in Burundi, they are quite the same with what I'm learning at homeschool. Okay.
Now, tennis is relatively popular here in Kenya, if I may use that term. But given the fact that you've traveled while playing tennis, what can you say? What are some of the things that we can borrow, of course, so that we can take tennis to the next level?
I would say tournaments up there, like in different countries, it's quite challenging compared to here in Kenya. I believe that other countries, they actually have like more players and more coaches, more tournaments, which here in Kenya we actually don't have that. And I believe with all that, tennis in Kenya can grow really quick and it can be good because we don't have much players here in Kenya right now and not lots of like tournaments. We have tournaments but not quite as much, and yeah, I believe with those things Kenya can actually grow good.
Why do you think, mostly, in your own opinion, of course, getting to the point you are at the moment, why do you think, which is the main reason that we are lagging behind? Of course, is it the lack of exposure? Because even in schools, people start playing tennis. It's one of the sports, even in high school, rather, that, you know, during admission, you have to go with a racket. It's tennis, golf, sorry, not golf, apologies for that. I meant hockey. Some of the sports that, you know, when you're being admitted to high school, you actually have to carry your racket. You have to, you know, you have to carry your stick. So, so maybe why is it that from that stage, high school, where it's popular amongst many students here in Kenya, but then again, is it the transition bit into being a professional, or is it that people just lose, you know, interest after they're done with high school?
I believe they lose interest because maybe after 18, like they feel like they haven't been actually winning matches or traveling to other countries to participate. So I think they lose the interest of why play tennis, but they should just encourage themselves that it's step by step. So you just need to start slowly by slowly to be able to go to the level which you want yourself to be.
Okay. Now for you, of course, you just mentioned you turned 17, but what actually, let's say, shot you up into the limelight, besides the other few tournaments that you had participated in before, was back in 2014, when you won, of course, the Kenya Open tournament at the age of 14. What was that like to start with?
At first, actually, I wasn't that terrified about the match because I knew she was older than me. So I was just there to play my best, and it was actually my first time being in the finals at Kenya Open, because the last time I played Kenya Open, at the age of 13, I reached the semis. So 2018 being in the finals was quite great for me, and I was happy. So playing in the finals and winning it meant a lot to me because it actually inspired other young players that they could actually achieve greater things. It doesn't matter about the age, but if you believe and if you're ready to do something, you can actually do it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, in the next few weeks, that is in March, of course, you're going to be heading to the ITF school later on in Rwanda, if I'm not wrong. How's that? How are you preparing yourself for that? And of course, given the experience that you have at such a tender age, of course, what do you mean? What do you aim to achieve?
I believe the center I'm going to, it was quite similar to the center I was before. So I don't think it's going to be much difference. It's going to be quite the same, but it's just I'm going to a different country and meeting different people, coaches and players. So I'm prepared well, and I'm mentally prepared to face either challenges or good things, and yeah.
Okay. Now, in a few, of course, you're going to be joined by Tennis Kenya secretary, and that is Wanjiru Mbugua, and we shall be talking about also the growing popularity of the sport here in Kenya, as well as how they're mentoring the young tennis players, of course, such as, of course, Angela right here. But before we get to that, Angela, not so long ago, 2 weeks ago, if I'm not wrong, you emerged victorious in the J4 tournament, of course. What's the significance of that for you, of course, in your journey to becoming a top tennis player?
For me, it's good because I believe in 2019, that was the first time I reached grade 4 finals, but I lost it. I wasn't able to get the title. And 2021, yeah, I was able to win the 2 weeks J4. And I think this really means a lot to me because it helped me, like I'm now able to get my ranking into a good start for the year, and I'm proud. And it's not easy to get into a final in a J4, especially 2 weeks, and actually winning it. So for me, winning it and reaching there was quite a good thing, and I'm happy.
Okay. No, of course. Before we are joined by Wanjiru, we're going to be taking a short break, just light. But always remember that your feedback on the show in regards to sports matters can always, of course, you can reach us. You can give us the feedback via social media platforms on Facebook at KBC Channel 1, on Twitter you can tweet us at KBC Channel 1, and you can tweet me directly at Munga_Mbatia. Now, don't go too far, as Tennis Kenya section. Where Wanjiru Mbugua will be joining the conversation, and Angela will still also be here talking about her tennis journey and maybe what she wants to achieve in the near future, and also her long-term plans in tennis.